Hello everybody! We get to start this video with another unboxing from your creative studio, which is a small business run by the wonderful Amanda that ships you monthly ephemera of any given topic. So the last one I reviewed, I'll link it in the cards right now, had a winter owl topic. This one, I was very happy to notice, has a cinema topic. And to start off, the first item is a sticky note pad, which has kind of like a movie review design. The next thing I really like, because it's a little collection of small, random decorative papers. Half of them are see-through, kind of like a modern vellum style, and the other half are solid. So you can play around with those two options. Next, we have this little notepad. This one is not sticky, and these designs are all the same in every page, aside from the last few pages, which are actually stickers. And as you can imagine, I love those because they look like wax seal stamps, which is really cool because I don't know if you've noticed, putting wax seal stamps on a journal is horrible because then you mess up the texture of the journal for the next however many pages. That can be a lot of the pages if your journal has very thin paper. So I avoid making wax seal stamps in my journal, but these stickers seem like a really good substitute. The next one is this other little book of random decorative paper. These have a bunch of numbers and they also have different textures. This one has 3 different textures. One is see-through modern vellum, one off-white, and one craft paper style. The next one is actually one of my favorites. I ended up using it in the journal that you're about to see me make. I am not sure what the image references, but it looks like a really pretty vintage style logo. All the pages have the same design, and it's a really pretty grayish green color. The next one is another sticky note pad, also movie related. This one looks like a small movie ticket. Honestly, it also reminds me of those raffle tickets that they give at events sometimes. The next one is a rubber stamp. She seems to be always including a small collection of these rubber stamps. I like the size of them. They're small, so they're very easy to store, and the stamping works very well. And then next we have some washi tape, which you guys know I love because I use washi tape in every single journaling page. The design goes along with the movie theme, and I really like this one. It has kind of a vintage feel, and with that brown color, it'll probably match about half of the spreads that I make. Next we have more stamps, more rubber stamps. This one comes with 2, and the design is film, both the film itself and a film camera. Next we have this set of rulers. I am not completely sure how this goes with the theme, but I'm okay with that because they're actually really cute. I guess it goes along with the vintage style that everything here has, and it definitely goes along with the color palette. This box has a pretty consistent color palette, which I really like because it makes journaling easier. Next we have some decorative paper, and I have to laugh with this one because one of you guys commented on my last video mentioning that these have a sticky back. These are stickers, which is awesome. If you watch my last video of these unboxings, like a peasant, I use my Tumbo tape in order to attach this to the page. Don't make the same mistake I did. They attach themselves. They are wonderful. And the last item is more decorative paper. I really like these. These look like they come from old magazines. They are all flower themed, and then just like a few other of the items in the box, some are see-through modern vellum, and then other ones are not see-through and just solid off-white color. I have only reviewed 3 of Amanda's boxes, but honestly this one is my favorite so far. I love the color palette of everything here in the box. I love the theme, and I even love the varieties on the theme because the overall theme is cinema, but there's a lot of things that are not necessarily directly correlated with it, but it all maintains that vintagey theme. Onto the journaling, where we put these materials to the test. I knew pretty much right off the bat that I was going to do a 2-spread journal entry because I know I wanted to use that piece of sticky paper with the image of the Gibson lady on it, and that is of course going to take a lot of space. So if I want to have any space to write anything, I need to bring in another couple pages. This is something that I have realized solves my problem of wanting to decorate too much. I imagine some of you may have a a similar issue that you just get really into the scrapbooky decoration part of journaling and then you barely have any space to write. And I actually want to write in it. I don't want my journal to just look like a scrapbook. I want it to actually be functional and serve for the purpose of writing. So it has become pretty much of a habit now that I do 2-spread journal entries in order to be able to do all the decoration that I want to do and also not have to cut down on the actual journaling. As for what I was journaling about, this is actually a topic that I brought up on my Instagram stories not so long ago, maybe a few weeks ago, and it was some thoughts on the artist gig lifestyle. I opened it up for you guys to give me comments in regards to what I wrote, and if you stay till the end of this video, you will see that I actually shared those with you guys. But before we get to that, I wanted to read to you what I actually wrote. I have never had one single job / source of income. As many know, this is rarely an option for artists. For most of us, if you want to make art and monetize it, that means doing 50 different things in order to make money. And while this concept might sound stressful, the truth is that I wouldn't want it any other way. I am so used to this that the thought of doing one job every day of my life is soul-sucking. I love the variety. I love that no 2 weeks look the same. I love that some days are accordion teaching days, others are peasant job days, others are modeling days, and others are scriptorium days. Plus, of course, whatever else comes up. Loving this lifestyle has also meant that I've come to terms with the reality of always having a day job. This is something that is often looked down upon in artist spaces. It tends to imply that you haven't made it yet, that you're not good enough. The truth is, we all have different financial backgrounds, necessities, and preferences. Having a peasant job, by the way, in my vocabulary that means day job. Having a peasant job doesn't make you a lesser artist. It frees your mind from the financial burden that can inhibit artistic freedom. And that is signed as a morning coffee rant, while wearing the pirate shirt and flowy skirt with which I shall take on the world. March 19, 2021. Okay, maybe it has taken me a bit of a while to actually make this video, but here we are, better late than never. I will touch more on this topic after the actual journaling is done. For now, you can enjoy some paper cutting and ink writing and calligraphy along with some music. Hello. I don't usually show my face in these videos, in these journaling videos, but with this topic in particular, there are a few things I wanted to more personally share with you. Because I wrote about this topic on my Instagram stories a few weeks ago, I believe by now, and you guys wrote such beautiful things and such inspiring things and such honest things about your lifestyle and your personal struggles with an artist lifestyle. And I wanted to share those. And the first response to that was, I agree, 100%. Plus, everyone should be free to tackle their art with the lifestyle they prefer/need. There are quite a few comments on this vein of do whatever works for you, regardless of what is seen as correct or the way you should do things. Couldn't agree more. There are multiple paths. This is not just one, but the most common one, that being the day job/artistic gigs kind of lifestyle. There's no one correct way to live an artist lifestyle. So long as you are an artist, it counts. Exactly. I couldn't ever get my head above water working gigs. At one point, I had 5 jobs. Bad for anxiety. And this is something that comes up a lot. The thing with artistic things is that they take over. You don't just go sit on a desk and do your job and then walk out the door and out of sight, out of mind, the job doesn't exist at home anymore. The thing with artistic gigs is that they are all you think about whenever you're working, especially when it comes to performing arts. They are so time consuming and the hours are bizarre and you miss half of what's going on with your friends and family. You never have time for anything. It takes over, and on top of that, they don't pay that well, in a very general sense of speaking. So this is a comment that sounds incredibly familiar to many of us. I agree, gigs are relentless though, and energy sucking in their own way too. Again, all in a very similar vein. Hence why the constant gig lifestyle and no financial support from something more stable isn't for everyone. Would never go full-time with art. I'd start to hate it. This has been something that scares me constantly because this has happened to me. Turning something artistic into more of a job, and then the second you're not doing it out of passion, the second you're doing it because you need money off of it, you start taking more gigs on that because you have no other choice, because you need to pay your bills. And then it becomes a chore, just like anything else. It doesn't matter how much you love something, when you have to do it because you're forced to do it, suddenly that love can go away. This doesn't necessarily happen to everyone, but this is an extremely normal thing that happens to many of us, and something to keep in mind if you're reconsidering your lifestyle. I love this one. I wish I was a millionaire and could support all of my artistic friends. But being a millionaire is problematic too. That is probably my favorite comment. That one made me laugh. It's funny because my roommate and I have had this conversation multiple times about if we won the lottery, what would we do? She always says that she would love to support all of her art friends, and then I always say that I would like to start a scholarship program for adult artists. Feeling the struggle makes you feel very empathetic of the struggles of other people. You know how much you struggle, and you don't want your friends to go through that struggle. So yes, I absolutely agree, and I wish I could support all of my artistic friends, as well as myself. I really like your view on it, especially because I am not yet finished with school, but always knew that I want to do something art-related. First of all, art school sounds like a waste of money, but it isn't. I went to art school, half of my friends went to art school, actually more than half. The majority of my friends went to art school, and there is more to learn from school than the typical 5 academic topics that the educational system, at least in North America, is programmed to do. To me, the most valuable part about art school was the sense of endless possibilities and the absolute freedom, at least during those 4 years, to just explore and try things and just do whatever you want because you don't depend on money for it. So if you are able to, if you can afford it, or if you can get scholarship, if you're thinking about it, I absolutely loved my art school experience, and no, I would absolutely not change it. Having the day job takes the pressure off of the art to make money, more freedoms. Yep, exactly how I feel about it. I can totally see myself in your shoes like many other artists. We're all in this together. I am so sorry. I just can't say that without singing. That is such a freeing idea as an artist. I completely agree. Thank you for sharing. Yes. And then to finish this off, the last 3 responses, 2 of which I thought were the most thought-provoking, and the last one being, I think, the most inspirational and positive. It's hard to present this lifestyle to family, old classmates. I have to dig for another achievement. This is something that is certainly very anxiety-inducing in many artists, of people not taking it seriously, of people seeing it as our hobby, of people not ever really seeing it as a real job, which leads to people asking for free things, because of course you wouldn't ask your doctor friend to perform surgery on you for free, but you would certainly ask artist friends, amongst other professions as well, to, oh, can you just do this free portrait for me, free logo for me, free this or free that, or it's a job. It's a job that many of us went to school for, and even if you didn't, you did spend countless, and I know it is countless hours working on developing. I have found so much satisfaction now in just saying no. It's so freeing once, and this is why I like having a day job, because once your life doesn't financially depend on it, it is so satisfying to say no when somebody offers you way too little money for something that you know the value of, and you know that that's not even half. It is just so satisfying to think, well, if this is not worth it for you, then you can do it yourself. And I'm not necessarily going to tell that to a client, but it's what I think. When I was performing regularly, it was costing me so much to get to my shows that sometimes I would lose half my pay just getting there. It really cut into what I was able to profit from my shows. Day job was a necessity at that point in my life, but I will say it has since drained my soul, and I lost the passion for performing circus arts for people. This one's a hard one. I have heard this a lot about performers in situations where just the travel time is such a chunk of the paycheck they're about to get, that how is that even worth it? But you still do it because you want the experience, because you want the exposure, because at least it's a paid gig, at least it's not free, at least you're not a negative profit, at least it's a little bit more, better than none. But it is still so unfair for the hours that we put into it, for the hours of practice, rehearsal, getting ready, creating the costumes in many situations, creating props, going to and from our own classes, financing our own classes, because we're constantly taking classes, whether they are free or not free, or online or in person. There's just constant education going on. People don't see that part, and people don't feel the need to pay for that part. And then you're stuck in this vicious cycle of doing gigs becomes life draining, and then doing a day job too much becomes soul sucking. And then you're just between not feeling like you have a life or not feeling like you have a soul. And then finding a balance between that can be very, very difficult. It is something that I am still working on. It's something that I think I will constantly be working on. I need to constantly be checking in with myself, paying attention to what I need in order to have a balance and to feel somewhere in the middle, to make sure that I'm not drained by any of the things that I am pursuing, whether it is for financial necessity or a passion project. And last but not least, to finish with something quite positive, go forth with courage. Every lifestyle has good and bad aspects. Individually different perspective on what is good or bad. Find what works for you. It's okay to change your mind and alter course after some contemplation. All of it needs courage. Sending some support to whoever needs to hear that. Thank you. Sometimes we do really need to hear that. Sometimes we forget that we are multifaceted humans, and who says we need to do the exact same thing for our entire life? Just because you went to school for something, just because you dedicated 10 years, 20 years of your life to something, just because you always liked something, doesn't mean you need to like it and do it forever. Our interests change, our life situation changes. We are dynamic people and there are so many things to explore, so many. It's often a little overwhelming. I always say, if I had the option of being immortal, I would go for it, because just in a second, immortal, immortal like vampires. Like, you can still get killed, but you just don't die out of natural biological reasons, so that eventually when it gets too much, I can, okay, that's that. If I get the option of living hundreds of years, yeah, I want to live hundreds of years, because there's just so many things to do. I want to always have the freedom to alter and change my course whenever it feels like it's time to do so, whenever a path has run its course, whenever it is time for something new. Being bored of life, that is not what we're here for. I don't think we have some grand purpose in the world. I think the universe can very easily go on without us. So you might as well give your own life some purpose and some intention, or just simply finding joy in things that surround us, and being curious about your surroundings, and trying things, and if trying and failing and trying again and failing 10 more times, because that's the way it works. Anyway, that was a big, long tangent from the topic of gig lifestyle. Not really a tangent, it's sort of related. But I hope it has helped in some way or another. And if you do become a vampire, hopefully by that point, if of vampires existing, we can also figure out a way to be vampires without killing people. That would be spectacular, and sign me up. I will see you guys in Transylvania. Anyway, that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon with another one, and have a fantastic day. Bye!